And we're live. Welcome to I Drink and I Know Things, episode 21. Another Easter Rising. I'm sure everybody by now knows what happened in Sri Lanka. And I know I probably said that wrong. Fuck off, Sharardi. I really don't care. All right, MC. I spent yesterday with my kids, and then I watched Game of Thrones. I didn't follow the news as closely as I probably should have. Go ahead for context and tell everybody what happened, please.
Well, you had a series of suicide bombers come out, and during Easter services, and also against 3 hotels, 3 churches were bombed, 3 hotels were bombed, and an apartment complex were bombed. In addition, the police found 85 detonators in a bus terminal area, and several others. There have been several people who have been arrested. 290 something people have been confirmed to have died. There's 500 injured approximately. All right.
Is there any news on if somebody came out and took credit for said attacks?
There's not anyone that's quote unquote taking credit per se. All right. However, there is a militant group. Let me see here. There was a militant group that people were warning about ahead of time, and what's the guy's name? Let's see if I can find out the guy that they're thinking is the mastermind of the whole thing, because it's unconfirmed reports blame Zaharan Hashim, all right, for Sri Lanka's attack. Who is he, right? And he's basically another imam, all right, who's been fomenting these kind of these kind of things. He's been fomenting this area in Sri Lanka. He was also wanted to attack the Indian High Commission in Colombo earlier this month, but the attack was thwarted, according to CNN. So he's been responsible for several other attacks.
The reason I named this Another Easter Rising as a question, these were all attacks upon Catholic churches other than the apartment complex and the hotel, right?
Right. That's correct.
Catholicism, if you look at it, it's pretty much at its weakest it's been in hundreds of years, while Islam is at its height. If there was a time to take down the Catholic Church, now would be it, right?
If that's what your intent is, but I don't think it's necessarily, in this case, I think it's just the fact that Catholicism has a strong area. It is a large minority in Sri Lanka. So therefore, I think that's why it became more of an attack, because they're apostates.
So you don't feel there's any connection to Notre Dame? I kind of feel like there is. Maybe I'm grasping
in that they're attacking Christianity as a whole. Now we don't know exactly what happened with Notre Dame, and the worst part about it is you can't if nothing happened, for example, if it was just an accident, how can you believe the government, all right, when they tell you that? And the reason I asked that about the French government is the French government has already downplayed and tried to hide Muslim attacks and Muslim extremist incidents in the past. So,
since when hasn't the French tried to appease the people who are fucking attacking him?
Well,
the French have not always waved the white flag. But just real quick, Jez, I see you in the chat. What's up, man? I missed your second Streamlabs last night. That was enough for a beer. I appreciate it, sir. He donated $3 last night during the show. Thank you very much, sir. Yeah, no, in voice. The actual Easter Rising happened in your on your little island. Do you see any parallels here at all? Because So actual Easter Rising was the Catholics attacking the Protestants, right? This is kind of Islam attacking the Catholic Church. I don't necessarily know there's a direct parallel there, but to me it seemed apt.
No.
The Easter Rising in Ireland was a rebellion against the tyranny of the UK. That's what the Easter Rising.
Well, as an American, I can get behind that sentiment.
but so from that standpoint, it wasn't an attack on, against other people. This is a cultural religious attack is what this is. And
it's okay. I'm saying, like, if you want, tell the history of my country that I live in, feel fucking free.
Well, if I said something wrong, please correct me right now in front of everybody. I'm sure you won't have any problem with that.
Oh, you were wrong about everything. It was over potatoes.
Oh, my mistake.
It
was part of the potato famine. The Easter potato blight.
Well, where do you think the potato gun came from?
Oh, dude, those things are fun. But no, all right. So, like, here's the thing, man. When I say the Catholic Church is at its weakest, it's racked with scandal. This Pope is a feeble, weak, nihilistic Pope that is worthless, in my opinion. And what are they going to do? Call for a crusade? Fat fucking chance. They can't do anything. They're going to sit on their fucking hands and take this shit. Notre Dame burns down. You have a bunch of fucking Catholic churches bombed. And where's the Pope? Has he said a goddamn word? No, he fucking hasn't.
Whatever happened to turning the other cheek? Well, you get that one slapped as well.
Fuck that. No, turning the other cheek, time for that is over. Time for that is over. It's fucking Easter Sunday and they're bombing churches. Fuck these motherfuckers, dude.
You heard it here first. Maud wants to bring back the Spanish Inquisition.
The Inquisition.
Yeah.
What a show.
Hey.
The Inquisition. Here we
you
go.
Throw a couple of those moms on the rack and they'll start squealing real quick, little piggies.
You're starting to sound more and more like me. And
yeah, dude.
And
it was Easter Sunday, man, and I might be agnostic at this point, but I was raised Catholic, and goddamn, that's a fucking monster.
Here's the Pope's.
Yeah, the guy raised Catholic just took God's name in vain.
Repeatedly, yeah, fuck it. I don't give a fuck. Make me Pope. I fucking bitch slap these motherfuckers.
I thought you had an aversion against violence. How libertarian of you.
See, here's the thing. They committed the act of aggression. Now gloves are off.
Pope Francis denounced the cruel violence on Easter Sunday. And then he made his comment, "May the one who gives us his peace end the roar of arms, both in areas of conflicts and in our cities, and inspire leaders of nations to work toward the end to the arms race and the troubling spread of weaponry."
He sounds like a lamb surrounded by wolves.
Well, at least he's not a Nazi sympathizer like the last one.
Hey, leave that fella alone. He's the only fucking poop I liked.
I'll be right back.
I don't think that the Pope Benedict was necessarily a Nazi sympathizer. Now, I could be wrong.
But just on popes,
German.
Yeah, just on popes in general, nothing says faith like 3 inches of bulletproof glass.
That's very true. Now there is a, and that all came about by why? That all came about because of one of the right attacked the Pope. And actually stabbed him. If you remember correctly, that was the Pope,
I thought they shot him.
Pope Francis. Was it a shooting?
No, I think it was John Paul II.
It was John Paul II. Yes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they shot at him, and the fucker was a crook shot. Didn't fucking get the head.
So it could have been a shooting. I thought it was a knifing though. I thought he tried to stab him or stabbed him.
John Paul II was shot, and then he went around and forgave the shooter later on.
Well, yeah, he later on forgives him, but he now drives. Ever since then, they had the Pope Mobile where he drives around in bulletproof glass.
No, and I
here's
thought when I was in high school and I was making fun of that thing, I thought we made up Pope Mobile. They actually call it that.
Yeah. Hey, here's one for you. So like the fucking Pope was being driven around in the Pope Mobile all day and all this kind of stuff. And after the event, they had him chauffeured back to his hotel in one of those armored fucking Mercedes-Benz things. And because he'd never driven before, the Pope says to the driver, "Hey mate, you don't think, can I have a go?" And the driver thinks, "Well, shit, it's the Pope. I'm not going to say no." So driver lets him in the driver's seat, and because he'd never driven before, especially fucking superpowered bloody armored fucking Mercedes, he ended up speeding. Anyway, cops pulled him up. And the cop just takes one look at the window and he goes back to his radio and he goes, "Jesus Christ, I think I've fucked up here somewhere." And the dispatch gets back and says, "Why? What's happened?" And they go, "Oh, I've pulled someone really, really important over." And they go, "Oh, who is it? Is it like a king or a queen or president or what is it?" And the cop gets back on the radio and goes, "Well, fucked if I know, but the Pope's his chauffeur."
That's not a bad one, actually.
When I say the Pope is weak, I mean, right now the current Pope is mostly a communist.
Oh, he is.
And
he is a communist. I wouldn't say he's mostly. He is a communist.
Yeah, and he is weak. He just sits on his hands. There used to be a time when if something like this happened, the Pope would raise an army and go and kill people. Not no more. "Oh, please don't blow up our churches." Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah, but then again, there was also a time when British royalty would do the same thing. But, she's had her chance a few times.
I'm not saying I want, the Pope to recreate the Roman Empire. It's not what I'm saying. But defend, if you're going to be the leader of a church that spans the world and has how many millions of followers, how about you not let your followers get blown up on Easter Sunday? Can we figure something out here?
Yeah, but if we did that, you bring back things like the Knights Templar and all this kind of stuff, and then you have every fuckwit conspiratard under the sun going, see, it was real, the fucking Illuminati."
Well, am I batshit insane, MC?
Well, I mean, it's his choice how to run his office and run that religion. All right. Is the religion an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth? Well, that's pretty much the Israelis' solution, right? From the Judaism, right? How do you expect the Pope to respond? The problem with a lot of this crap, in my opinion, goes back to it isn't a religious issue so much as it's a leftist issue. The left will tolerate the kind of attacks by these Islamic radicals because they are attacking, for the most part, okay, the same people that they hate. And they'll let it continue until they find themselves being shot at and so forth. And you end up with, it's just like, I mean, they don't realize how this is all going to come for them. So the leftists are more than willing to get in bed with them. Now that you laugh about this, you say, "Well, no, that really isn't happening." Yeah, it is. Take a look at the excuse making that's being made for Ilhan Omar and Rashid Tlaib. Right? If you hate America, just like they do, they don't care. They're going to talk about how these are the women they were promoting at the Women's March. And yet both Rashid Tlaib and also Ilhan Omar have both stood up there and talked about how they would like to see Sharia throughout the United States. Now think of that. And these are people that are prominently speaking at the quote-unquote Women's March here in the United States.
Yeah, there was a time in America when they were afraid to elect John F. Kennedy because he was Catholic. They thought the Catholic Church would have too much influence. Now you have these people wanting to hand it over to Islam on a silver fucking platter.
Right, because they hate the founding of the country. They hate the United States, and they hate Western Europe as Western culture as a whole.
Well, you've also got to look into exactly what they're saying in the context that they're saying it in. For example, we had an imam out here called Al Halali, and it was reported that he did this spiel, and it was reported that he called fucking Australian women uncovered meat and all this kind of stuff, and that they deserve to be raped and all this kind of shit. And then the next day, after everyone's too outraged to read the whole fucking thing, they printed exactly what he said. And what he actually said, if you read between the lines and took everything literally, was that, yes, women in Australia, they do walk around like uncovered meat to Muslim men. Muslim men see them as, well, they're skanks and they're whores, and our blokes can't be fucking trusted. So if you don't want to be raped, cover yourself up. If you dress conservatively, they're not going to do anything. But if you dress the way you do, they will. Now, I can't fucking stop them from. Hang on. I can't fucking stop them from doing that. That's up to you guys, not us. That's exactly what he said. And you know, with these people now fucking siding with the feminists and shit like that, they're literally saying, yes, we like these dumb bitches because we have dumb bitches in Islam that follow Sharia, and these dumb bitches are going to be good Sharia candidates later on. Lovely. We love these people.
Yeah, but that's like saying if you don't want to get thrown off a building, don't be gay. What kind of fucking sense does that make?
Well, in some countries, it is illegal to be a poofter, and yeah, there are some very, very strict penalties for it. I mean, like fucking, if you don't want to get thrown off a building, don't go to a fucking Islamic country. Simple as that.
No, and MC, I thought you were trying to say something there.
No. I was just listening. Didn't want to interrupt.
Oh, when is Western civilization going to stop giving away everything that we've gained through the last?
When Western civilization turns away from being a socialist, when they finally realize that socialism is the problem, when leftism is the problem. The reason
you don't want to go ultra conservative either, though. I mean, there's a reason why I label myself as a classical liberal.
So what's going to happen if there's an ultra conservative? Are gays going to get tossed off a roof?
Are they going to be allowed to marry?
What difference does that make? How does that affect society?
It affects the gay segment of society.
No, it only
doesn't affect me.
It doesn't affect them as society-wise. It may affect them personal-wise because they don't get to do what they want. And that's strictly what it is. They don't get to do what they want. They don't get to go in front of the government and get other people to say, yes, we recognize your marriage. That's all. So from a societal standpoint, what can't they do? What physically can't they do? Nothing. There's nothing that they can do if it's an ultra-conservative or an ultra-conservative country.
I don't know. I'm not necessarily going to dig down into the weeds of that. I'm just.
Well, no, because this is important. People worry so much about the ultra-conservatives because how would you like it and how would you feel? That's the problem. It's not about how you feel. We shouldn't be focusing on people's feelings. You need to be focusing on actions and how people think, not their feelings, how they react and how they think. Okay, if you worry about each and every person's feelings and that becomes the predominant, then you run in there, well, some people are bad and we've got to tolerate this and we have to tolerate that activity, and then it turns into a free-for-all because they're just acting how they feel. You have literally thrown away every standard you want because you have placed the primacy of feelings on this. And this is what the left has done. Now, the left has done it because primarily, not because they care about gays marrying. The reason that they do it is that they want power, and keeping people, mired in this power makes them easy, with feelings. All right, gives them that kind of power because it means that they can mislead them. It means they can get them to vote for them on these issues. They themselves don't care about these issues. They couldn't give a rat's ass. As long as it gives them power, that's all they care about. But that's who I'm talking about, the leadership. The average leftist, though, doesn't think. The average leftist feels, which makes it easy for them to lead. It makes them easy for them to be led down the primrose path toward, oh, these people are bad. You can't talk to them because they're bad. They're evil. You can't talk to them. They have nothing to talk about. With ultra conservative, it's the exact opposite. It's not have anything with feeling. It has everything to do with logic and whether or not it's good for society or not good for society. What does
but who are you to dictate what's good for society? That's where we hit the wall.
Society. So once again, it's always going to be a little bit of a struggle there. But an ultra conservative society, all right, changes slowly versus the kind of radical change, all right, that happens at the whims of people when you're dealing with the left. The problem with the leftists is that, oh, you can change things very fast. Yeah, you can change things very fast. And what's the result? The result is you get whipsawed from one end to the other and back and forth and all over the place because you have no core principles.
Yeah, but you can have core principles. What neither picks my pocket nor breaks my leg doesn't worry me.
Well, that's great. So that's how you feel. That is not a principle.
What do you mean? Don't steal from me and don't freaking assault me. It's the basic non-aggression principle. Just leave me alone and I leave you alone.
Yeah, but that's wonderful, a wonderful statement. But when you're talking about society and living within a society, it can never work that way. You're talking about an attitude of, well, if you want that, go live in a cave somewhere. If you don't want social interaction, if you're going to act in society, then you're going to have to come back with some rules within how society has to behave.
The rules are don't assault people and don't steal.
That's okay, but it isn't a matter of don't steal, because there's always going to be disagreement as to what people say is theirs. You're going to have to come up with more rules than don't steal. Especially when two people say that's mine and they're both pointing at the same thing, you're going to have to have a way of dealing with that situation. And however that's adjudicated, one person is going to be satisfied and the other person isn't. That's the way things are.
How long until the Catholic Church is backed against the wall and it needs to come out with a stronger stance and not be feeble?
I don't know. I don't know if it can come out of this. There's a schism going on within the Catholic Church right now between the quote-unquote conservative element that you were talking about, right, and the radical leftist element that wants to push the leftist agenda within the United States today. And they were talking today, like Villanova, right? There was an issue with Villanova was in the news today recently with one of their professors, all right, basically going to do a symposium on why it's okay for Antifa, all right, to basically utilize violence, justifying Antifa's violence. And this is a supposed Catholic university. So here you have a question. You ask a question. Well, how is this a non-violence thing? I would say that normally you could come back and tell the Catholic Church, okay, well, the Pope's response is because he's trying to be non-violent. Really? Then why do you have the leftists basically justifying violence, all right, but at the same time you're trying to preach nonviolence? That doesn't make any sense. It's contradictory. So until that schism is fixed, until there's a major reformation within the Catholic Church, especially with the scandals, let's be honest, the pedophile scandals, unless they come to terms with that, this is not going to end. The Catholic Church is going to spiral down, 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 and I don't see it stopping until it hits the bottom.
Well, with the latter issue you brought up, I would say allow priests to marry, and then you'll have an influx of people that aren't sickos come into the church and take up the mantle to preach. But
how's that going to fix anything?
Well, actually, I reckon like it's a dying cause, anyways. It's a dying sort of fucking, well, for want of a better term, race. Because, well, simply fucking more people are having the realization that free will and all this. I don't have to go to church on a Sunday. I don't have to believe in that shit. All this scientist is starting to explain fucking shit, and that's shitting all over God. So I'm going to fucking believe that crap as well. You have a look at England now. They're supposed to be predominantly religious and all this. They've even got their own one, the Church of England. Church of England's just a colloquial term for, yeah, I'm actually an atheist, but I don't want to get into that argument with you. So, yeah, like most people are seeing through this God bullshit, or they don't have time for it, they don't care. Then you've got the integration of other like multicultural societies and all this kind of stuff. So culturally, society is getting to a point now where like, well, hang on, these 15 people have got 15 fucking different gods between the 15 of them, and they're all saying something different to mine. So I reckon it's all a load of shit. I'm not bothering going to church, I'm not even bothering believing. And even the churches come out here over the Easter break saying, oh, it's too commercialized, we're having the lowest turnouts ever and all this kind of stuff because people are too busy eating chocolate bunnies and stuff like that. That's not what it's all about. So, well, that's not my fucking problem.
Well, it might not be your problem, but it will become your problem pretty soon. Because one of the things is the people in like, for example, the Islamic communities, all right? Those are people that are radical believers. All right.
Yeah,
you're not going to shake them. You're not going to shake them with your atheism. You're not going to shake them with your viewpoints. And as long as they hold true to the Sharia law, okay, you're going to end up paying the price.
Well, that's the thing. We got an attitude out here. Well, this is our country. You want to believe in that crap? You can fuck off back to where you come from.
No, really, that's not how your leftists believe, though, is it?
Yeah, but no. And MC, here's the thing, though. And also to you, Farty. Okay, you guys. So, all right, maybe Western civilization is headed into more secular and more atheistic tendencies at this point. Fine, that's all well and good. But the thing is, the biggest religion on planet Earth has been the Catholic Church. And by 2070, they're saying that will be far surpassed by Islam, maybe 2030, 2040, actually, if you want to look at it more even-handed, I suppose. That's a problem. If you look at geopolitics, that's a fucking issue.
I'm all waiting for this.
The Catholic Church isn't trying to run France. The Catholic Church isn't trying to run America. Sharia law will try and run those countries. You see where I'm getting at here. It is a fucking issue.
Yeah, well, I'm all waiting for this Sri Lanka business to be blamed on Christchurch.
Well, I mean, that wouldn't surprise me if they've already tried to make that connection. Would it surprise anybody if they made that connection? Let's be perfectly frank. They're going to find ways to justify this whole thing. It's one of my arguments against listening to this bullcrap who come back when people cry about, oh, it's blowback. It's all about blowback. Really? What blowback was from Sri Lanka? I'm sorry. What did the Sri Lankans do in Afghanistan or Iraq? Okay, it has nothing to do with blowback or how these people feel or radical this or they're just upset because the United States or Great Britain are in this one area and that's why they can't stand it, and if only we just left them alone, everything would be peaches and cream. No, it's a radical ideology, all right, that spreads through violence. And all the people on the left who spout that crap, okay, and what they're doing is they're letting these people for a way to get in because they don't think that they themselves are going to be affected. This is why when I talk about leftists, and I know people don't want to hear about me hammering the leftist, banging on the leftist drum because it's leftist this, leftist that, and I understand that. But the reason I do it is because until people start to really think and really analyze and really start going, we need to take a look at this. All right, we're going to continue down the same freaking road, and we're not going to have any other solutions.
Yeah,
you got the Pope. All right, let's talk about the Pope back to the Pope for a second. What is one of the biggest problems that the Pope has right now? The fact that they still haven't actually addressed this whole pedophile issue. They have not gone out and said we have to put a stop to this in any kind of credible manner that anybody can honestly say, yeah, they're actually trying to reform, they're actually trying to fix this. Nobody sees any of their actions. Nobody sees them actually trying to fix this.
It's because they're not. No, it's because they fucking aren't. What they do is they shuffle these priests around and they move them to South Africa or wherever else so they can continue doing what they fucking do. It's disgusting and despicable.
Okay, so if you're not trying to fix the issue, like you were saying, you talk about him being weak. Well, here's one of the examples. He doesn't want to rock the boat, so where he's not really trying to fix the issue. Well, then how is he going to fix any of the rest of this?
Well, I will put this forward because yes, there was. I've mentioned this several months ago. This was the story that I wasn't allowed to report on, but I fucking did anyways. Cardinal Pell. George Pell, he's an Aussie, he's head of the Catholic Church here, and he was one of in the Pope's inner circle. And when they basically bailed him up, he was excommunicated from the church, removed from the inner circle and all this, and the Pope just basically threw his hands up and went, yeah, he fucking done it, he's all yours. And now he's still going through court and all this kind of stuff. I'm not sure whether I can still mention this because the reason was that they charged him on a few things, and then they were going to charge him on a few more things, which made the courts put a gag order on it. And yeah, so there's that. However, it's too little too late. And like, as an atheist, I don't really fucking care because, well, I think they're all a bunch of fucking lying scumbags anyway, so...
Well, but the result is still the same. Nothing gets solved. Nothing gets resolved, right?
Well, he's going to end up going to jail.
Well, this cardinal will, yeah. That's one cardinal, but that's not the church taking a stance. That's not the church really doing much. Okay, so they excommunicated him. Great. Okay, well, anything else? Did they open up the records to let people see what was going on? Did they come out and say, hey, we got to get a handle on this. We got to let the police go through all of our records to deal with this. Okay.
What kind of records are you going to find there? The 1976, Joseph Smith. Yes, he had a tight little bum hole. What?
Well, who knows what they're going to find, right? I mean, you're going to have disciplinary records from the hierarchy into why they were moving one priest to another thing, theoretically, right?
Well, they'd just make up a bullshit excuse.
Well, they might have, or then again, it might have been a part of their sealed records at that time. We don't know.
Well, they'd be stupid to do something like that. Like,
not if you don't think that they're ever going to be seen.
Still, why would you put down because he fucked a little kid? We sent him to bum fuck Idaho.
Because you're honest. I don't know. Who knows what's in there? They should allow the records to be at least explored, right?
Hang on, honesty. This is an organisation that tries to pass around the belief that there's a big magic man with a beard that's towing the fucking world around on a giant turtle. No, fuck off. They're not fucking honest. They're a lying bunch of cunts. They've been for like 2,000 years. They're also
the ones that came up with the theory of the Big Bang. So before you go too far in your little anti-Christian rant there, the Jesuits are the ones who came up with the Big Bang theory. So it's not just all anti-freaking science.
But still, they're still trying to perpetuate that there's a magic man in the clouds that fucking... And they know it's full of shit.
Well, that's your view. I'm not going to say that's their view, because that isn't their view. That's your interpretation of their view.
No, and the Catholic Church keeps meticulous records of everything, but they keep them all sealed in a secret library.
That no one can see, so they must be there.
Well, that's what. Well, we don't know. Granted, we don't know what's there. I'm not going to deny that. But at least if they opened up those records, at least it could show them saying, "Hey, we're at least being open about this. We're being open to the process." You're not even doing that, right? And that of course is going to lead to worse and worse. People accusations of them, not. Or what they're hiding, even if there's nothing to hide, the fact that you won't let them view a record is going to lead the suspicion that there's something to hide, that they're hiding something, even when there isn't.
Well, they keep everything sealed for 100 years, and then if you know it's there, you can go there and request it. But they don't tell you what's in the library. So you just have to like randomly request shit and hope they have it. It's weird.
It's kind of like the Area 51 argument. Oh, they won't let us in there because they won't let us see the aliens. Because they won't let us in there and we don't know that there's aliens there must be aliens.
Well, no, but when you have police investigations of a serious crime and you know these crimes took place, okay, to they say, can we look at your records to see whether or not we can find out what corroborates this or who may have been involved, et cetera, so we can at least, possibly come back with leads.
Yeah, but
people, things like that.
The Vatican is a sovereign state, MC. They can say no.
I understand that they could say no, but if you're trying to, fix this issue, how the way they're going about it, saying no, this stuff is sealed, isn't going to fix this issue, right?
Well, there's an even bigger problem with the Vatican itself. I mean, like, you got to be really worried about what records they keep about rooting little boys when the age of consent for males is 12. Oh no, it was all right. He was 12 years and 3 months. Yeah, no, he said yeah.
No, and I'm trying not to make stupid jokes out of this, but they are a sovereign state. They are their own country within a country. They can say no if they want. They cannot extradite. If they would have got that cardinal out of Australia and into Vatican City in time, they didn't have to let him leave again. They could tell Australia to fuck themselves. You know what I mean? It's the way it is.
Well, that may be true, but like the evidence is pretty fucking overwhelming, and yeah, the Vatican would do one of two things: either ditch the cunt straight away, or fucking just hand him over, and which is what they basically did in both occasions. But I'm not joking about that fucking 12 years fucking age of consent thing. Go look it up.
Well, there's an age of consent for homosexuals to have sex in the church.
No, just boys. He said, yeah, it doesn't matter who he did it with.
Oh, I think that it's still homosexuality is still frowned upon in the Catholic Church, isn't it?
Well, considering that most of these priests are fucking little boys, altar boys and stuff like that, I don't think they're really too fucking stringent on that whole homosexuality thing.
I think
wait a minute, though. Wait a minute. It's not most. I still would.
It's almost all. Yeah, it's not most. It's almost all.
I don't think it's most or even almost all, but it is. There are ones that definitely were.
Well, no, yeah, and you see the same thing in the Protestant churches and the Mormon churches, and I bet you in the mosques.
Oh well, within the Islamic cultures, I mean, it's sleeping with little boys is a traditional thing. All right, especially in the areas like Afghanistan, which it goes back to certain traditions from Greece. People tend to forget this, but there was a tradition that Alexander's group brought in with them.
Oh, and that rooted from the Spartans. Yeah.
Yep. Rooted.
All right, Beavis.
But no, I'm just saying this isn't the sex abuse issue. Isn't just a Catholic issue.
No, it's not just a Catholic issue. But when you have records and you're saying no, you're not allowed to see these records. What are you doing? You're not.
Are the records their confessions? Because I
don't know if confession
sacrimony of the confessional, you cannot violate that. Well, that would bring down the whole underlying reason of Catholicism. That's the difference between the Catholic Church and the Protestant.
Are you telling me that the priests, when you go in and you go to confession, are there with a freaking tape recorder recording the conversation?
No, but afterwards they can record it, and back in the Middle Ages they did. They kind of used it politically, actually. But like, let's say I murdered you, MC. I killed you. I then immediately head towards the nearest cathedral and go confess my sins. All sins are washed away. I'm good to go.
You get
Now,
your
the
30 pieces of silver and you continue on.
Yeah. But the priest would go, hey, Dodge, I think you should go turn yourself in. I go, yeah, Padre, I'll get right on that. He can't then turn around and call the cops on me, though.
I'm sorry, but I think the whole idea of mod killing MC is laughable.
Well, no, and I knew he wouldn't be like, oh, Matt is going to come murder me. I better call the cops. That's why I used him as the example.
Yeah, I'm terrified that you're coming after me now.
Yeah, I could hear you just shaking in your boots. Yeah.
Terrified. I'm absolutely terrified.
What's up, Seth? How you doing, man? I hope you had a good Easter.
Pretty good, you guys. So what the fuck is going on? Americans, Canadians, and Americans. Just kidding. Anyways, so is my voice fucked up? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We're waiting on. We're waiting patiently, hanging on every word, every syllable that comes out.
Yeah, or a bit.
So anyways, no. So everybody's been kind of talking about a holy war coming. Kind of seems like it would be more or less World War III. Because if you think about it, it would be Islam against all of the other organized religions. Am I wrong on my thought process?
He has a point there. Any thoughts, guys?
Oh, there's a civil war coming, but it's more of a cultural type of thing, to be honest. It isn't necessarily because Islam against everybody else. It's the backward Arabic culture against everybody else.
Yeah, that's exactly my point, man. And like this fucking insanity in Sri Lanka, I love how nobody really they're not making a big deal as the Christ Church. What the fuck kind of bullshit is this? They're all fucked there.
Well, that's where I was kind of going, and with the whole fucking atheism is growing kind of thing. It will get to a point where fucking the atheists will get pissed off and beat the fucking religion out. Grab you cunt!
They're already like that now. They're already that's why the left is with Marxism. What is Marxism? Big thing. All right. Religion is the opiate of the masses, right?
Yeah.
So they have to do away with religion. What is the religion they're doing away with first? Christianity. Why? Because Marxism started in the West. That's the reason why it's attacking Christianity as a whole. All right. But the other aspect, of course, of it is that Christianity generally has a pacifistic tradition to a large segment of it, which makes it easy to bash Christians. Because technically they are supposed to turn the other cheek, as has been stated. All right.
Well, I hate to cut you off there, but I just wanted to point this out before I forget. The thing is, religion hasn't went away. The trouble is that as you saw the Christian religion being weakened and weakened, coming lesser and lesser in Western countries, what came about? Socialism. It's not that these left-wing progressives aren't believing. They've just stopped believing in God and believing in ideology.
That's a good point.
That's all that's happened.
That is a real good point, actually.
Yeah, that's very fair. I'm just saying, like, this is kind of insanity where, and yeah, you're right, MC, Christianity is being attacked more than anything. And mind you, I am an agnostic. I can't prove or disprove it, but I've dealt with a lot of Christian dogma growing up. I went through 3 different Christian schools. I know exactly what most of them are getting at. I can't stand Catholics. I'm good with Baptists and most newborn Christians.
Well, I can't disprove it either, but every time the Jehovah's Witnesses and the fucking Mormons and all those other religious cunts come knocking on my door on a Sunday morning wanting to preach their bullshit, I just go ask your fucking bearded monkey in the sky this. Rwanda, where the fuck was he? He's got a lot of fucking explaining to do. Until then, get fucked.
No, I'm totally with you there, Farty. Fucking absolutely, bro. Muting myself. Gotta go.
I take things a little differently. I open the door in my gimp suit and, ask them in.
Yeah, I used to do that, do something similar. Cut off camo trousers, a Kill 'Em All That God sort of mount shirt, and mohawk, and was like, oh, you want to talk about God? Come on in, I'll tell you about mine. Oh, no, we see you're busy. Come on in, come on.
Yeah, I had a friend of mine who said up there, his father, when the Jehovah's Witnesses came up and knocked on the door, and they said, "We would like to talk to you about Jesus Christ." He said, "Yeah, come on in. I'd like to talk to you about my religion. We're Druids. We worship the oak tree in the back," and they never got bothered again.
I messed up because I just wanted the Book of Mormon to read it and see what it was about. So I ordered it off the TV for free, right? And then for the next year and a half, they showed up every fucking weekend. And I'm like, son of a bitch. I just wanted a free book.
Sure you're not a Jew?
Oh,
wanted a free book?
Ow.
There's an important lesson here, folks. Nothing in this life is free.
Oy vey, I just wanted a free book, and now you annoy me. I had to pay for it.
My old man did that same exact thing. We were in Moab, Utah, right? And we were just up there helping with a construction job. And I'm sitting there hanging out at my dad's friend's house, and a couple of JWs knock on the door. Or no, Mormons. Sorry, not Jehovah's Witnesses, Mormons. And they say, "Would you guys like to talk about Jesus Christ?" I'm like, "Talk to the old man." And there's my dad. Motherfucker looked like Willie Nelson, but, a little stronger. Think of Stan Smith from fucking American Dad and meets Willie Nelson. That was my pops. And he's like, "Yeah, come on in." I'm like, at this point going, you know what? I have a beer in my backpack. I have a couple joints. Fuck this. I'm going for a hike. 2 hours later, guys, come back 2 hours later, and these Mormon kids are just trying to get away from the crazy old Christian man. It was beautiful. But yeah, go ahead, somebody.
Turns around and bugs them. That's funny. But all right. So there's another story you wanted to talk about, MC. Tell us what that's all about.
Yeah, well, there's a new NASA twin study, all right, that came out in April. All right, NASA twin studies results published in the Science Journal. And there's basically three areas of concern. Right, first of all was the telomeres, the end of each DNA strand known as telomeres. Right, there were changes in the telomeres from the twin that was in space and the one that was on the ground, but after they came back, the telomeres basically resynced and they came back into it. Immunotherapy. It looks like we can immune people, give people shots like flu vaccinations in space, and it seems to have no difference than what it's like on the ground. And then there's this one, gene expression, which is basically how it gets the genes translate the data back into proteins in the cells. And they found that the one who went to space, he came back and 91% is the same, but the 9% is different and it's not changing back. So basically there's been a change on a genetic level to the people that go into space.
Oh, for a second there, I thought you were going to say gene expression was one of the members of KISS and all their different faces.
No, they're not. They're not Gene Simmons related.
He's one with his tongue out.
His tongue was on the floor. We couldn't believe it. He could roll his tongue down to his kneecaps now. It's amazing.
Okay. So does the amount of DNA that changes permanently grow? Like, does more of that DNA, like, would more of it change if you spent longer?
It's not the DNA specifically that's changed. It's how the body reacts to proteins and how that DNA is translated into the cell networks for the protein. So basically, it's the start of the mutation.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't be surprised because your body does go through a hell of a lot of fucking different, very rapid changes well, near zero gravity environment. I mean, like they've known for fucking decades that your muscle metabolism and all that kind of shit basically shrinks to almost nothing. That's why you got to do exercises and stuff like that because you don't need that kind of stuff. So your body would switch to from burning all the normal fats and proteins and all that kind of stuff to attacking your muscles because you don't need them.
Yep, but what they're thinking is that the bodies for that are going into space are reacting because of the space travel, are reacting to all the different stressors, and as a result, bone formation, telomere regulation, etc., are all being impacted because of this, and that even though most of the changes came back or fixed themselves. 91% of the changes reverted back to their baseline, that the rest of it has stayed where it is and hasn't gone back, which basically indicates that if you want to mutate quickly, go into space.
Well, how long's this study been going on for? Because there's something
this is someone that just came back, so I imagine there'll be follow-up studies and everything. This was after 6 months, though.
Okay, yeah, well, there is a radiation aspect. I mean, like there's lots of shielding and all this kind of stuff, but there is a higher form of radiation that you get subjected to up there. I'm just wondering whether that's sort of more long term as opposed to never repairing. That's why I asked about how long the research has been going on for.
Right.
Well,
no,
no,
it will be interesting to see how that goes.
Wait, MC. This is the same twins as before, right? This twin study's been going on for years. One of them stayed on the planet the whole time, and the other has gone to space 3 or 4 different times, right? I mean, I remember this twin study before.
Well, there's multiple people. There's not just one person, but that's why they say it's the twins study. There's multiple twins involved, right? So I mean, it's a long-term study, and it's going to take a long time before all the data comes. Gets released on it, right? But it's interesting in that they're seeing these large changes. I shouldn't say they're large, but these changes that aren't replicating themselves, which means basically the twins are no longer twins technically, because genetically there's differences now. At a visceral level throughout the entire person. So if it's due to radiation, if that's the reason for it, all right, that's one thing. But I don't think you have the same effect with a twin going through radiation treatment that you do going through, space flight. Now, radiation is not radiation, meaning radiation has several different forms, and each form has a slightly different dose rates and things like that. So it could be certain energy levels that are like you are getting hit with more cosmic rays in space than you are here on Earth by
well, real quick, a couple things. First, in the chat, I think it was Jez that said it. I hear a fly buzzing around somebody's mic. Yeah, I think that was Farty's mic, and it's one of those gigantic drop bear flies. Those things are crazy.
Actually, yeah, it's called a marsh fly, and the thing's almost the size of your fist. You punch these things, and they'll look at you. They shake it off and look at you. What the fuck's wrong with you?
But second, all right, I'm gonna go here because I have to. There's this theory that the alien grays are us in the future as time travelers. Could it be that this mutation, the more we go and expand into space, this mutation will grow more drastic and actually change us physically?
No, the alien greys are just Asians. They're the aliens.
And Dodge, they're always called the Pleiadians. Yes, remember? The Greys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, though, wouldn't that make sense? Now that we're proving that there is a mutation, like, think this one out, play it out. As the mutation expands, we would change physically as well.
Are you out of your goddamn mind?
No one asked for your opinion, woman.
Actually, you asked for an opinion in general, so I'm giving you one, you dumbass.
No, but
Am I right? No.
no, but I was going to say the three radiations that MC was talking about. That is, solar radiation, cosmic, and nuclear. Correct?
Well, there's radiation. I just said that radiation is not radiation. Is not radiation. There's different forms of it. That's all I said.
Yeah, that's what I said. The three that I can think of.
Well, there's also gamma radiation. There's electromagnetic radiation.
Gamma is a form of electromagnetic radiation, but I mean, there's photon energies. There's also ionization radiation.
Mhm.
There's if you really want to look at it, I mean, radiation, the way it's described is basically it's ionizing radiation, and even things that don't necessarily ionize, photon energy that doesn't necessarily ionize, all right, it still have an effect. For example, we know that microwaves are not considered ionizing radiation. However, we also know that glaucoma, all right, is a byproduct of being exposed to microwaves, high power microwaves. Okay, so it does have biological context to it.
Well, no, and the thing is, we also know that space travel itself inherently, your risk of cancer is increased. That is from the cosmic radiation. We
Right.
can't create
You're getting higher doses. Where you're getting higher doses of radiation. Yes.
So we already know some of the effects of the cosmic radiation upon the human body, and they're all adverse. Are we going to be able to expand out and colonize, Mars? Even the fucking moon. That's a stone's throw away compared to, Mars. Are we going to be able to do that, or are our bodies inherently just along?
Yeah, no, we will. We just will have a big race of mutants on there until Dennis Quaid comes along and frees them.
Well, as far as colonizing the moon, colonizing the moon wouldn't be a problem. All right, you got to remember, for a good period of the moon, all right, you're blocked. The sun is blocked by the entire moon. You're protected by the whole surface of the moon. So there's that aspect of it. As far as a ship or colonizing like Mars and things like that, as you have what they call the inverse square law. Okay, you got to remember this, right? So if someone's twice the distance away from a radiation source, they're only getting 1/4 of the radiation damage from the sun. And the biggest radiation device out there currently that we know of is, of course, our sun. Now, that's not accounting for other celestial objects that could create gamma ray bursts and things like that. And if you have a gamma ray burst and you're in its pathway, then, to be honest, there's not much you can do about it one way or the other.
I'm just wondering if the human body itself is going to be able to be in space long enough for even the travel time to and from even something as close as Mars, much less on the outer solar system or intergalactic space. The giant distance.
No, I don't think that that's much of a problem. Or I really don't. All right. I mean, we'll be able to do it. Now, whether or not there will be effects later on, can a person survive it? Yeah. Will they have a shorter lifespan as a result? Possibly. In fact, I would say probably. But would it be worth it? It would depend on whether or not people really want to take that risk. There's no guarantees in life as it is. Just like smoking, there are people who smoke their entire lives and never gotten cancer.
George Burns.
No. If you want to, compare it to something. What about the ocean travelers? Back when it was just a sail, their lifespan was shorter, but they did it anyway, and they discovered lands that they never knew about. So there will be people that will.
They found people, visited strange new lands, found strange new people, and killed them. Typical Marines.
we can just take Newfoundland and Greenland. before there was any freaking what's his name? Goddamn. The Italian bastard, goddammit, Christopher Columbus. For Christopher Columbus, all right, they found Newfoundland. That was Norse people. That was Swedes, fucking Vikings. Found Newfoundland, and there is evidence of it because of the longhouses that they found.
Right, but there's no permanent settlement. And,
no,
and they never described that to the wider sphere of Europe.
Yeah, and even though we did find evidence of it, and there's not even really too many native things except for sometimes talking about distant people that showed up for no reason. They lived long enough to build some houses, and then they took off, probably because it wasn't really worth it to fight with the natives.
Well, I mean, it's impossible to know exactly what happened to those early settlements. All right, there's still a lot of discussion about that. There's also some circumstantial, for lack of a better term, evidence that the Chinese had actually.
Well, MC, do you know about the Clovis man?
Yeah, I do, but I mean, the evidence still, there's just not enough evidence to actually confirm exactly what that was all about yet. Right? They do know that there was a civilization that seemed to be far more advanced on the North American continent than was previously known. That's what Clovis.
I will tell you what the biggest problem with the Clovis man is, because Clovis is here in New Mexico, and the natives there will not let them check out the body to check out the DNA and stuff after what they've already done. They won't let them even mess with the body.
And what's the reasoning behind that?
The tribe here in Clovis, New Mexico, actually took over the body.
Okay, but what's their reasoning?
Because somehow he's linked to their heritage.
And they know this. Why?
Dude, it's the Native American governments. You think the regular government is fucked up? Oh no. A lot of people complain and say, "Oh well, the reservations are fucked up because of the American government." No, it is because of the native governments. They build casinos, they build all the shit, and it goes to the chief, it goes to the war chief, so on and so which, right? And these people are the bourgeoisie. I'm not joking with you, man. In the place I grew up, the Native American government are so corrupt. You would think Venezuela was, a friendly government.
What is your age? You cannot come into our bar. Here's $50. Okay, you can come in.
Oh no, dude, no, it's terrible. And as a matter of fact, like I grew up poor, and the natives would help us. We would help each other out. They'd be like, here's some government cheese. They sent us 4 blocks for some weird reason. Have some Velveeta. Like, basically, No, this New Mexico, the Southwest is fucked, MC. I'm telling you. And you live here, you know exactly how fucked up this fucking.
Oh, I do know how screwed up the tribal lands are. I'm not gonna argue with you there.
Yeah, but that was basically my point. Is don't sit there and let people try to tell you that it's the American government that screwed up the Native Americans. They have had long enough to be able to fix their shit, but they refuse to because they let the freaking corrupt government that is the Native governments just screw them over.
Here's another joke for you. It's fucking Big Chief Bowles back in the day when fucking they were taking all the Indian land and all that kind of stuff. He gets approached by a Yank soldier and is like, "Yeah, you got to fuck off. We're taking your land." Bowles, no move. And the soldier says, "Well, look, go to Washington. There's this big white building. Go in there and have a look to them because I don't give a shit." Anyway, so Big Chief Bowles, he goes into Washington, but he goes into the wrong big white building and he comes across a doctor and "Bowles, no move." And the doctor goes, "Okay, here, take this and see me in a week." Anyway, a week later and comes back to see the same doctor and shit. "Bowles, still no move." And then the doctor goes, "Fuck, that was pretty potent. Oh, well, here's something stronger. Come back and see me in a week." Anyway, he still comes back a week later. "Bowles, still no move." And he goes, shit, well, here's the strongest stuff I've got, mate. Fucking come back and see me in a week. Anyway, a week later, he comes back and he says to the doctor, bowels move. And the doctor goes, oh, did it work? Did it? And he goes, no, TP full of shit.
But no, anyway, we got sidetracked with the whole native thing, but that's not where I was trying to go with it. But I don't know. Since we're talking about space anyway, they did find that gigantic black hole. That's interesting too. Did you hear about that?
No, that's just God's bumhole.
You talking which gigantic black hole?
They finally got pictures of a black hole.
Well, they know that they do now know.
The MESA 18 one, or whatever it is.
Yeah, they do know that at the center of all galaxies now that there's gigantic black holes, including in our own Milky Way galaxy, and that black holes are central to the creation of galaxies, right? In the formation of galaxies. Exactly what role they play and what role they're, as it goes forward, nobody knows yet, but they do know now that there's a black hole at the center of every galaxy.
And technically, Dodge, it's not actually a black hole. What you can see is the event horizon in the accretion disk. And technically, too, it's not really even an image. It's an interpretation of the radio signals.
Correct. So
that shut him up.
but no, I mean,
I'm trying to find the photo, which I did for a second.
I'm gonna show everybody the photo.
Yeah, I'm gonna try.
But basically, now that they know that they can get the event horizon, and Fardy's right, that is the event horizon. That's not necessarily the black hole itself. It's the disk around it that's heated and still able to escape and generate, a signal.
Well, it's the stuff that you can see is what's called the accretion disk, and then the black part on the inside is all but 1/3 of it is the event horizon, which is the part that sucks in light. And the reason why the bottom part's a little bit brighter than the top part is just the way that the Doppler effect works, and the light traveling away is a lot less brighter than the light that's traveling towards us. And they actually reckon that the light that's traveling away will end up coming back towards us. It'll actually curve around, because it's a 3D sort of thing. It's not really a hole. It's more of a ball type of deal. And the light that ends up bending around ends up coming back towards us. That's partly the reason why there's differences in light. But the black hole itself is only 1/3 of the darker part that's inside the accretion disk. So we actually can't even see that.
And it's also millions of light years away from us, I believe, or thousands.
I'm sorry. I just came back from getting a coffee. 40, why is that X-ray showing what's shoved up your arse?
Hey?
That's a funny X-ray of whatever you shoved up your arse.
No, it's not mine. I'm not God. That's God's butthole, not mine.
Okay. Well, this is interesting, though. The telescopes that caught this image are in Chile, Hawaii, Arizona, Mexico, Spain, and at the South Pole. Would you want to be the poor fucker at the South Pole manning that telescope?
Well, they just had one guy just murder somebody else down there last year in the South Pole. Got a little tired of him.
Mm-hmm.
One too
I
many.
didn't hear about that. No shit.
Thing. Yeah, no, this really happening. Guy shot somebody else.
Well, I don't know about being there myself, but fucking I keep saying that all these migrants that are coming to Australia, there's a perfectly good piece of Australian territory down there called Mawson's Hut. We can fucking house them in that.
So, anyway, unfortunately, guys, I got to go for a little bit, so I'll try and come back.
Toodles.
Well, no, I was thinking about having a short episode today anyway, actually, guys. I have my paper I need to finish editing and get turned in by 9 o'clock tonight. So, any other stories you guys want to talk about, or do we want to wrap it up early today? All right. Well then, yeah, I'll be back Wednesday. We'll hopefully have a video up tomorrow from Eldritch and Farty. So Red Eye Rants hopefully will be up tomorrow. Take it easy, everybody. I hope you had a good Easter. Good night. Good luck, and don't go to France. We're out of here.
Sri Lanka.